Next, of course, the next comedian coming to the stage, Taylor. No!
All right, thank you. Keep going for Jeremiah tonight. Yes. I've been married. My wife and I, we just celebrated our 6-year wedding anniversary. Yeah, it's been fine. Okay, stop that. She got mad at me though the other day. I got a haircut for the first time in over 2 years, and I thought I would surprise her, and it turns out that that is not the right move. Because I got home and she was not too pleased. She told me she prefers it when I have long hair and a long beard. And I'm starting to suspect that she just doesn't like my face very much. She's like, cover it as much as you can. I love Spokane. Big Spokane guy. I love how outdoorsy everybody is. You know, seems like people in Spokane love like camping, for instance. I mean, even downtown, there's an unbelievable amount of tents. It's just people enjoying nature, I think. I don't know. I went camping this last weekend. I wonder if like homeless people get mad when people with houses go camping. They're like, that's kind of my thing. I'm tent guy, you know? But I went camping and I went fishing for the first time. I've never been fishing. I caught one, pretty big, about 9.5 inches. Pretty good size, really. We did catch and release fishing, which is apparently the humane way of fishing. You know, sir. I disagree with that. I don't think it's humane at all. Because what happens is, you know, you like reel in your fish, you get like 10 seconds of enjoyment, you take a picture for your Tinder profile, obviously, you take the hook out of its mouth, and then you just throw it in. And for your 10 seconds of enjoyment, that fish now has a hole in its face for the rest of its life. That does not sound humane. It's like if you went hunting and you shot a deer in the face, and then you walked away, and you're like, I'm a pretty good guy. I'm humane. I don't know, man. Fish are pretty stupid. Because what happens is they see a worm in the water and they want to eat that worm, and that should be a red flag because worms, they don't even live in water. So, and I'm not 100% sure that worms don't live in water, but for the sake of the joke, worms don't. I'm pretty sure. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure. My wife and I, we like to watch shows together. We watched this one recently about Helen Keller. You know her, she had that eyes and that ears situation going on. And the more we watched it, the more I was feeling bad for her, you know, and not just because of, you know. Apparently people would come over to her house and observe her as if she was like an animal at the zoo. And I don't like that at all. She never seemed to notice, so maybe it was fine. Every time I like meet a deaf person, I find myself talking louder as if that's just gonna like break through the, I don't know. Apparently Helen Keller was pretty outspoken, or you know, as spoken as she could have been. She was against any life-saving efforts for babies born with mental or physical ailments, which seems crazy that she would be against that. I mean, you want to talk about the pod calling the kettle retarded. My wife and I watched, we like to watch like murder documentaries on Netflix, you know. And I've noticed this thing where like every time a hitman is hired, that family is unbelievably rich, because they're not cheap, apparently. And they have like the most big, beautiful house, you know, and I find myself getting lost in the house rather than the case. You know, they always do like a reenactment. It's like the killer broke in through the basement. I'm like, dang, what's it like having stairs? You know, that sounds nice. He walked up to the 3rd floor. I'm like, 3 floors? In one house, 3 floors? I wouldn't be mad at anybody if I had 3 floors in my house. It's like they found her dead in the guest bathroom where she was hiding. I'm like, man, the guest bathroom, that's... Do you know how many bathrooms you have to have for one of them to only be for guests? That's crazy. And then they show like pictures of the crime scene. I'm like, get that body out of the way. That's real marble on that floor right there. That's... I have a friend who was a hitman. Only once, he got caught. He was... He was pretty cheap, actually. You may have heard this story. This is a real story. One of my best friends in high school. He got hired by his cousin to kill his cousin's ex-wife. He got paid $1,200, which is well below market value. And he actually killed the wrong person. Which isn't funny, it's just true. And a little funny. I don't know, I've always said, like, you don't go cheap on toilet paper and you don't go cheap on hitmen. Just two rules that I've always lived by. I've always thought the word widower was a weird word. It makes your spouse dying feel like a competition, almost. You know, because women, when they lose their husbands, they are a widow. And when men lose their wives, they are a widower. And men could have just been a widow. But they thought, what if we were like, more? Widow. What if we're like widower? I don't know if the gays have a term for when their partner dies, but if they are taking suggestions, I would suggest like widowist. And just like win the death competition. Any gays in here? No, I don't care. All right. My wife and I, we visited Mount Rushmore this year. Has anybody been to Mount Rushmore? Have you been to Mount Rushmore? All right. If you haven't been, I wouldn't go. It sucks. It turns out that it's like way bigger in pictures than it is in person. And I was explaining this to my wife, who was saying how disappointed I was. I said I wouldn't have even bothered coming if I knew how small it really was. And she told me she knew exactly how I felt. About 9.5 inches. No, I shouldn't say that. My wife is actually not here. We just sort of live like in that direction. She asked if she could come tonight, but it's not her birthday, so. I'm not very good at sex. If you haven't picked up on it yet, yeah. No, we had to move back in with my parents recently, which is every little boy's dream. What? What'd you say? All right. My wife is very excited about it. She's not. Some things do have to change, though, you know, when you're married and you live with your parents. Like sex has had to change. We've had to have a lot of silent sex, which actually hasn't changed anything for my wife. But I've had to stop screaming, and that's been almost impossible. All right, you guys have been great. Thanks so much.